Good evening.
It's not pantomime.
Just want to, first of all, thank everyone for coming. Just very, very quickly, a bit of housekeeping. Toilets are over there. If there's a fire exits over there. First of all, this is one of the first sort of SEM sessions that we are doing. First of all, the guests, can we make some noise for Solardo, first of all? Thank you for joining us as well. Just to run through really quickly what we're doing. First of all, we're probably going to run through a Q&A, find out really about you guys and how this started and where you're up to now. And then we're going to break down, obviously, one of your tracks, and then from there, we're going to open it out to the audience as well. And, of course, any questions that you guys have for Solardo, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to answer them as well. So, first of all, just to start off, I mean, how did Solardo begin? How did you two meet, would you say?
I'm going to show me age here.
No, lie about it.
Right, so we initially met on a pirate radio station in 1997, yeah, when we used to play garage. It was called Buzz FM, and we used to play in the Salford high-rise flats because obviously we had to chop and change where it was broadcast from. And I had a residency on a Wednesday from 7 till 9, and Mark at the time was doing dubstep. Well, was it dubstep then? Was it like... It was experimental. It wasn't... Dubstep had never even been made as a genre then. And at the time, he was in Virus Syndicate, which was obviously a collective of MCs, DJs, etc. And they played after us. So the first time me and Mark touched base was like 97.
Wonderful. And how did you first get into sort of production and that side of things?
I got in when I was about 17, and back then there wasn't any, like...
A reason.
You needed a full studio to
garage band.
On. So I started out making tunes on Ray VJ on a PlayStation, because I'm making garage, so I mean, that's what you do in that sort of world. And then when Reason came along, the first Reason, that was like the first platform where you could actually make music within the box. Obviously, back then, I couldn't afford to like buy a studio.
None of that.
And the only option to do that was to buy a studio if you wanted to make music, or at the time when Reason came in, it was just use that. So I just started using Reason. I was making shit drum and bass, and then my friend at the time, not that drum and bass was shit, it's just I was shit at making drum and bass. And then my friend at the time was a guy called Oris J, and he lived in Sheffield, and I lived in Sheffield at the time, and he was making.
Do you know who Oris J is, though? Yeah.
I don't know who he is, no.
He was like one of the first guys from the forward sound, which was before dubstep.
Right.
And then he was making tunes which was like 140 BPM, sort of dark garage. And I was going around to his house playing my tunes on drum and bass, you know, what can you do for me? Because he was like a local DJ, and he's like a bit of a legend. And because he was playing out in different parts of England, you thought, what a cool guy. And then I'd go around there and he'd say, good tunes, but I can't really do anything for you. You should try making this sort of music.
Yeah.
It's like garage music, but it's a 140 BPM. And I said, no, I'm not into garage, because at the time it was all like singing and lovey-dovey sort of stuff, happy stuff. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that. And then he said, no, you can make this. It's going to be this new sort of trendy music. He said, just make it as dark as you want, like drum and bass, at 140 BPM, and it's going to be the next big thing. And I thought, all right, okay, cool. So I just started making tunes, going back and forth. He'd show me loads of tips, and then eventually he was playing these tunes at this place called Forward in East London on Curtin Road. It used to be a place called Plastic People. It was a pretty cool club. Legendary club. And then and everyone would go there, like Zinc, Scream, Benga,
Hatcher, like all the early, Plastician, all the early people, do you know what I mean?
So the early dubstep movement all went there. And then I just went down there, played some of my tunes. The first tune, back then there was only dub plates. There wasn't CDJs. So I'd go down there, cut my dub plate, cost £35, 2 sides, give it to like different people to play, and they'd play it. And then it just one time, it went off. I thought, yeah, this is me, I'm in this music now. And then just from there, it sort of got bigger and bigger, and I started making more and more tunes on Reason. And then Aphex Twin came along, and he heard this new genre of music because it was like quite experimental, left field, didn't really have a name. People all came down to this club from across all genres just because they heard about this new music forming. And he said, I want to do an album with you guys, like the main guys out of your scene. At the time, it was like myself and Plastician and some guys called Slaughter Mob. And we did our first album on Reflex, which was Aphex Twin's label, called Grime. This was before grime music existed. He wanted to call it grime. It later turned out to be dubstep. And then the rest is history.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So at that point then, so you're talking 97, that was round from when we spoke about 2003, 2004. Sort of.
The album was in 2003.
2003, so a little bit before.
The movement started for me about 1999, 2000.
By 99. So fast forward, 15 years. So you've already met before. So how did you sort of reconvene and come back to create Solardo?
In a club in town, I've seen him because obviously he was living in London, and so obviously after that side of things, I just went off and done non-music related stuff for years and years, and then I was just kind of lost in my life. You know, obviously I had no direction, nothing, and obviously music was the only thing that ever really got me out of bed and got me motivated, because I'm a party guy. You know, I'm known on the Manchester party scene to party. And so obviously, you know, at the time, I started getting back into it, invested quite a lot of money into production, equipment and stuff. I've still got the studio in the Northern Quarter. And yeah, just started cracking on, you know, getting my head back round everything. And then I bumped into Mark, and Mark had just come out of a relationship in...
We've bumped in. Absolutely.
Anyway,
I won't bring that one up.
This is another story. And then obviously I bumped into him in neighbourhood, like randomly, and I was like, what's happening? He was like, well, I'm back from... Because he was engineering for Sony at the time, wasn't you?
Yeah.
So he was like, obviously the dubstep thing had peaked and had gone at the time. And then he was like, what are you up to? I said, I'm on this house thing, mate. And then obviously he started coming down to the studio, but obviously Mark's mind was not in the house thing, and then we just sat there for 2 years, sometimes sleeping on the floor, cornflakes 3 times a day, and like, no joke, like raw, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just sat
and
there.
And it was bad.
Like, nah, listen, this is no joke, mate.
There was mice in there and all sorts of stuff.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, and then obviously we just tried to formulate this new, like a unique sound, because obviously we're from Manchester, yeah, and we're very influenced by the heritage of Manchester, the Hacienda, Boardwalk, Sankey Soaps, you know what I mean? So we wanted to always incorporate that raw, old-sounding, analogue stuff into our sound, and obviously we sat there for probably 2 years, you know, going to different studios and everything just to try and get that signature sound, because, you know, at the end of the day, the music world's very, you know, it's very, very hard to break in. Yeah. So you've got to stand out from a crowd. You can't be just run-of-the-mill if you want to take it to a real level, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just sat there for 2 years, probably, you reckon?
Analysed
everything. Used to watch Boiler Rooms for days on end.
This was like last chance saloon for us, really. I was thinking, I'm going to have to get a job at McDonald's if this doesn't go to plan. So I was thinking, I'm going to try very hard on this. So like I said, we go into old studios where old house music is made, new studios, looking at every possible technique possible, and then just looked at the whole scene in general and thought, what can we do to do something different?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, but to be fair, we wasn't looking for what the sound was then. We was trying to formulate a sound, what is the next sound, do you know what I mean? Because if you look back at our stuff, you know, I'm not saying anything, but the track that was at Beatport #1 the other day, I'm not saying any names. If you listen back to our stuff from 5 years ago, it's virtually replicated from the sound from 5 years ago.
It's acid.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you guys sort of went to, like you said, old studios. You even used old hardware, didn't you?
Yeah.
What specific sound, or when did it sort of click? Because obviously you were doing it for a good 8 months, where you were searching and trying to find something, and like you said, it wasn't quite right. What was it that sort of clicked specifically where you went, that's it?
I think it's just a thing in your head. It's like, I don't know if any of you DJing it, it's like you mess around on decks for ages and eventually it just clicks and you actually understand how to do it. And it was just like that, you know, when you submerge yourself so much into this whole thing, it's like...
Because this was like last chance saloon for us, mate. We was like literally morning to night studio, like literally nothing else mattered. Do you know what I mean? In that moment,
it was like the Matrix, and you're just thinking, looking at it, and I remember I'd go in there thinking this needs to work, and I'd look at the screen, it's like a blank screen, and think all it's going to take is me to move some things in the right direction, and it's going to change my life.
You know, I wish it was that simple. Do you know what I mean? We'd all be fucking
it works. And it was just a case of eventually, like, when the sound came together, because it even got to a level whereby I was even, you know, when you're thinking so hard about something, you start questioning yourself.
Overanalyze things.
And you think, can I do it? Then it'd get people in to try and mix it for us. Then we pay engineers.
We was paying for mix downs, weren't we? Do you know what I mean?
It just wasn't going anywhere. And I thought, this is just not going where we need to go. So then eventually, when I just took it all on ourselves, said, right, just fully take a leap of faith in, and just think, I'm just going to go what I feel, got feeling. And luckily it works. And the sound I went with was like an old
school. Analog sound.
Analog sound. Because you know the hardest thing in mixing a track down
is trying to make it sound old.
Making a shit tune sound good.
Yeah.
You know, an old sounding tune sound good.
Yeah.
It's easy to make a tune sound polished and like pop sort of friendly. But to make a tune sound old but yet good is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And that's what we went for at the time. So eventually when I think it was just down to finding certain things like got a hi-hat, certain hi-hat, I could use that hi-hat and that kick.
Yeah,
so
across everything else.
Across everything else. And that was like the formula which sort of gelled it all together. And then once you got those in place and you had like the basic, I mean, I still use the same setup now.
That's
you know,
it.
like, different.
With the same kick and you just pitch up and down. And
just like the same mix on certain channels. I just use the same thing. And once that was perfected, it became a lot easier. Yeah. It wasn't easy at all.
And it was just like because we got to the formula where, right, find a catchy vocal, yeah? Find a catchy bass line, mate, and everything else is in place, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously with that up-tempo beat, catchy vocal, catchy bass line, mate, and it's just...
Yeah, and then you moved on to the image of Solardo, which I think that's really...
I don't even know how it came about,
the image
you know.
is because we were broken, they were cheap.
Second-hand
whose idea was it for the shirt?
Nah, do you know what? Just because when we first started playing, it's all like that cool techno world. Yeah. Oversized, long black T-shirts, dressed in black, don't smile. But obviously, we're naturally not them people, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? We are who we are, do you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
And then it just started, I can't remember.
No, what we did was we had some just generally shit shirts. And we were doing like a video, and I said, I've got the shittest shirt, and then just for that moment, it was
mental.
so, let's just wear shit shirts, cool this.
Yeah, and then...
We did.
Yeah.
And the whole reason behind it was because, you know, it was symbolic to like the whole music.
The music
like
snobbery.
The general music snobbery world, which is sort of diminished quite a lot now, but back then it was pretty fucking rife.
Yeah.
It was rife.
And it was just basically a big, we don't give a fuck sort of vibe, so it's just do that and then let's be more approachable. Say if you're wearing like a big black long trench coat with Doc Martens on, you're not that approachable. But if you're wearing
there's
like
nothing wrong with Doc Martens for the record before anyone says anything.
Well, I mean, if you're in a club and like that's, and you're not that. But if you're wearing like a stupid Hawaiian shirt and just looking like a...
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You're a lot more approachable, do you know what I mean?
Made things
and do you know what? And it created a vibe in a party, mate. I'll never forget, there was a day when we'd done Solardo sessions at Hidden, Yeah. And we'd done like 1,500 tickets, but we encouraged everyone to wear these Hawaiian shirts, And I never forget, you know, Sasha from who runs Warehouse Project, Sasha comes down and he's going, who are these guys who wear these shit shirts? And then obviously he come through the crowd and come and found us and was like, basically was saying, I've heard about the movement, obviously because people are interested, big promoters, you're selling 1,500 tickets in a city, mate, people want a piece of you, do you know what I mean? Because you... And yeah, it was just like, I think about 1,000 people out of the 1,500 people turned up in these shirts, and it's just like, it's like, in this day and age, it's like the Elro vibe, you know, creating that vibe in a room, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's mental how just wearing a colourful shirt can
make a better vibe.
Yeah.
Because you guys obviously did that a lot. You guys started off doing, like you said, not Joshua Brooks, but you started at Whiskey Jar. That was
150 people.
Put your first
Solardo
shows
sessions.
How was that? What did you sort of miss about putting you on your own shows?
Yeah, we still do. We still put on loads of shows, you know what I mean? But we're actually going to bring Solardo sessions back because basically that was born out of us sessioning. So, do you know what I mean? That's what it was. Solardo sessions, us going on a session. Basically, that's what it was. That's what it was born out of.
Yeah. And it's free as well at the time.
Yeah, obviously, It was just like...
I think it was probably one of the only free nights around at the time. So we just basically put it on and just said... People sort of heard of us just because we just been getting out there doing...
Yeah, no, and obviously... we used to have parties at our studio, what was pretty legendary. Has anyone... These boys used to come up there. So I never forget, we played a gig at Gorilla and we walked outside and I remember walking out going, listen, everyone, you want to come and party, follow us, and like followed us back to our studio, you know, just because you try to get your name out there, you want people to come and watch you play for 10 hours and go,
well, we'd have lineups in there, like...
listen to me, in my studio, Jamie Jones, Patrick Topping, Rudimental, MK, Route 94, Richie Ahmed, regular. Do you know what I mean? I've done back-to-backs with DJ Tennis and me. Mate, we've had.
And this room, by the way, is literally the size of that stage.
I was going to ask you, is it one? It's not one there.
No. Another one in the northern part.
You'd know about it if it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we'd have.
We definitely won't be here no more.
Out of all these people that you've had at these, especially at your after parties, who would you Well, first of all, who's the biggest party animal?
Richie Ahmed, easily, and Scream.
Richie Ahmed is, yeah.
Yeah, Richie Ahmed and Scream.
Yeah.
Love a party.
And who would you want to go back who hasn't already?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm into all like the old school stuff, so I'd like someone like Paranoid London. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. I want to move on to some of the marketing stuff, because I think me and you had this conversation earlier on, which I think you guys did something which at the time nobody else was doing, but now I see replicated.
Yeah, it's all over the world.
Over and over again, which is, well, for example, in October 2015, someone uploaded, or you uploaded, a video of Richie Ahmed dropping, I think it was...
Revolution?
Work That Shit.
Work That Shit.
At ADE.
Yeah.
A week later,
a
week later, someone uploaded a video of Scream dropping Acid Rock over in Dubai. And again, I guess my question is how important was it to capture these moments in your career, and how difficult was it to be able to do so as well? Because now, really, that's when everyone started uploading videos of...
Yeah, we used to travel hard. Like, so basically, what we did, we bombarded everyone's email with track after track. And I'm talking, when I say bombarded, I mean bombarded. I used to go out with a pocket full of USBs, jump over barriers to try and get to people, like, please, listen to this, please. Obviously, no one did at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like Facebook, we just give it to everyone, like, every possible way you could get in contact with someone.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, and then what we used to do is look on the SoundCloud page, see who's downloaded the tracks, and then wherever they was playing in the forthcoming weeks, we used to go. Like, genuinely,
even went to Mexico.
I even went to Mexico, mate, and watched Lawler play 11 of our tracks in a set at Paradise, genuinely. And obviously, at the time, because if you're showing the general public you're getting support of some of the world's leading acts, mate, everybody wants to know who you are. All of a sudden, it's just like...
well, like, no one else was doing it because, you know, there's a sort of bit of there was a bit of a stigma thinking, I'm too cool to do it.
Yeah, I'm too cool.
But it's cool, like I said to you before, like, however big you are as a DJ, it's still cool having anyone play a tune.
Yeah.
Like, you buzz off it still, like, say if, don't know, Jamie Jones plays my tune, I'm buzzing about it.
Of course.
So why just pretend you're not? So just put it out there.
Embrace it.
Put it out there and then speak about it. Let everyone know about it. Especially when you're trying to pursue a career in music and, like, you want to get out there and let people know about you. If you're too... A lot of people, I mean, I don't know if there's so much now, but people think they're too cool to do that. Like the local DJ syndrome, where people like DJs on the local scene might think they're cooler than others, but it's not about thinking you're cool, it's about getting your music out there and making the whole world listen to it and know who you are.
Yeah.
So that's what the original stigma was, and what we did was just like, think, fuck this, we're not even artists.
We're going hell for leather, that's it. Yeah. But it boils down to the person, for their aspirations as an artist. What do you want out of it? Do you want to go and conquer the world and tour the world, or are you content with playing in your local bar, or you're playing, you're resident in your local club?
Because if you're not going to get your music out,
it all depends what...
If you're not going to get it yourself, no one else is going to get it for you. So you just got... I mean, what we did and what was a lot easier for us back then as to what it is now, is back then the algorithms in Facebook didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we could, like, get a video and then take that video and then we'd post it into a million groups
literally.
you can imagine. Like every group you can imagine.
Join everything. House music of Australia, house music in techno,
builders
in Australia.
Literally
post, anything.
Every group possible.
Any way to get exposure.
And to get them views up. When the views were going up, then...
People start taking notice, innit?
Bit of a snowball effect, and they start getting shared, and people start asking what the tunes are. But nowadays, it's just like, it's can't really...
It's like standard stuff.
You can't really do that now, can you? So,
unless you spend money on it.
So with that in mind then, obviously, as times have changed, even the 5 years that it's been since you guys were doing that, really, to brand new producers, what would you say, or what kind of advice would you give them then to try and get themselves out there if they want to pursue that? Well,
first and foremost, for me personally, is making standout music is the first thing to, you know, send it to... So if you're making a certain sound, send it to the relevant labels, and if it's standout music, music speaks for itself, and then just work your way in to try and get the music to the right platforms to showcase you, do you know what I mean? Like, to the right... You know,
but be very careful, though. You've got to make sure your music's right. Because we get sent demos, and I'll remember someone's name if it's bad, and I won't listen to it again.
But you shouldn't do that. Like, obviously, I try and...
And everyone else does, and that's why...
I know, but I try not to now. You know, if you get, say, if someone sends you a pack of 10 tunes and you go through them on SoundCloud and everyone's shit, and next time they send it you on the same email thread, you just go, I'm very guilty of it, delete, which is not... I'm not saying it's a good thing, but, you know... a very
maybe
good piece
give
of
them like
advice.
two or three goes.
A very, very good advice is don't start demoing your music to people unless you are 100% with that. Because a lot, it's not. This isn't just us. This is virtually every single person in this scene will just go disregard stuff because of the first set of demos. So just make sure, because what you think's right, we thought stuff was right a year into the project, but then you look back at it 2 years later and you think, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
That it was, you've got to make sure that when you send your stuff out, mate, make sure it's on point to the where you can stand by that for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be there. If you smash it and you go there, people still look through your full back catalogue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's never going to go away.
It's never going away, mate. So
I've got
once
tunes
it's
which
there,
are disgraceful, and they're still there, and they're not going away anywhere.
Yeah.
And also another thing is, like, when you send out tunes, never send out WeTransfer links, because that's getting deleted straight away. It's got to be SoundCloud.
And another bit of advice. Well, I'm talking about myself personally. Don't send an email this big with an emotional thing that my cat died last night. And
oh, we did it though. We used to do it all the time.
Honestly, I just prefer hi, my name's whatever. These are latest thing. That's it. Bang.
Well, we have written stories. Let's not be. We have.
Yeah. Listen to me at the start. I've wrote some.
Please. I'm eating cornflakes today in this shit studio. Get me out.
Wonderful. So I know that you guys, especially early on as well, were very much looking at a lot of your socials. You always try and reply back to fans whenever you could. You
still do now.
You even still try and do that now as well,
all the time.
which is pretty commendable. What, if anything, reading through comments that people speak about music fans, or what's the best way of saying it, really? What is something that music fans complain about which makes you guys roll your eyes?
Oh, just the cool, like people who think they're too cool for school. I don't know if I'm not going to say anything. I don't know. Did you see the whole spat with Seth Troxell recently?
I was going to bring that up.
Did anyone see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where because camel fat, obviously being recognised massively. Look at Cola, 500 million streams across all the different platforms, and then obviously Seth Troxell done this post on Instagram completely out of the blue, saying because they're Grammy nominated and I have a Pharrell #1 beat with an emoji with an animal hanging itself saying, "The Matrix is broken, kill me now." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, there's no need for, this whole music.
How do you think that affects the scene that you...
Well, listen to me. The following Friday, I'm not going to say what she said, but the following Friday we was doing a back-to-back with Annie Mac on Radio 1 and her opinion on it, and a lot of people got involved in this. Eric Prydz got involved, Adam Bayer, Nina Kravitz, you know what I mean? A lot of people got involved in... There's just no need for it, do you know what I mean?
But the main thing is like, not just artists themselves, just general public. When people take this this snobbish approach to it, all it is going to end up in killing off the music scene that they wanted in the first place. So, like, look at dubstep, for instance. I've seen it happen from other genres of music. So, say, like, when I was in dubstep, us English guys, before it went to America, they took over and started doing their sort of stuff. We were happy in our little world, thinking, oh, we're amazing, we're doing really well. Then these American guys, Skrillex, came along and started making this new style of dubstep. And we all started rolling our eyes and, oh, yeah, shit, blah, blah. And then by us having our opinions on that, other people who might, younger people maybe, they'd see, like, the older dubstep people say this sort of thing, and then they start thinking it, and then it just generally spreads out like a disease and it kills off the scene. And then that's why, where's dubstep now? Gone. And it will just happen, so it happens to other scenes. So it's just like, embrace what music's like. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to, like, start big forums about it on the internet and
absolutely
speak about it.
I know you like tweeting. I've had a little look. Out of all the tweets that you've sent, what is your personal favourite you've sent to Donald Trump?
We've done
I can't even remember because I'm usually wasted when I'm doing so. I don't know.
You can either choose.
But you can tell me what I said.
You can either. I actually want it to come from me. Either Donald Trump or Nigel Farage. The choice.
Nigel Farage.
Nigel Farage gets it.
Like, I'm always, like, drunk, so fuck no. Probably quite bad.
To be fair, we're blocked by quite a few people as well.
Kerry Katona actually blocked us.
Yeah.
Kerry Katona.
Yeah, because listen, what happens is Mark, when he's drunk, will DM all these random people saying it's me. What's the bird called off The Apprentice? What's
Karen?
No, Katie
Hopkins.
Kate Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, she started replying back.
Yeah, he was saying, oh, I'd love to take you on a date, and she's actually replied back, like, in a full conversation.
Fuck's sake. That's been...
It's them long drives home from Rangers.
It is good fun.
That's been... No, it seems that you guys are probably the biggest thing that's come out of the North since Jon Snow. What's one of the things that you've... I guess, like, what's really... Since you're big in the industry, what's one thing that you really dreamed of? And what's one thing that's become, or you realise, is just a harsh reality of the music industry now that you are where you are?
Well...
You get
Travel for me is the worst.
Travel's bad.
Travel
really,
is the worst thing. You know, people look at you when you walk out on stage. It's all glitz and glam, the music industry, but they don't see how you got there. The logistics of when you're getting delayed and you're rough and you're sleeping on airport floors and you don't see your family, you don't see your friends. You know, obviously, people, if you're going to commit to this scene and you want to take it to the next level, mate, make sure you're ready for what comes with it. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
And
that's no joke.
And you know, if people think, oh, it's easy for them to say that.
Yeah.
But honestly, you believe me, if you ever get there, you'll definitely see it's like... Sometimes you think, how am I going to get through this week?
Yeah.
So say if you're doing like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or in the summer, and you get to like Thursday, or maybe even Friday, and you've got 2 more, and you think, how am I going to get through
this? And the fatigue kicks in, and you just... Your head's spinning walking.
I'll tell you how you get through it, though. It's just not drink, but we never learn.
So with that in mind, do you have any sort of pre-show rituals or any sort of special ways to get over hangovers?
Just slap your face, click. Come on.
It is, honestly, nowadays. Just sleep, usually. We'll sleep until about 7 minutes before, jump up, and then out. And then always in the lift on the way down to the car going, I'm definitely not drinking. Definitely not drinking. And then you get there and you think, I'm going to have to drink. Yeah. Then you do.
Vodka Red Bull, please.
Perfect. Now, you guys are obviously the head or successful heads of your own label as well, which is great. We can see as well that you are pushing people. I guess one of my questions is, especially from when you were running Contagious and when you were involved in that, what's some of the biggest changes you've seen from when you was running Contagious to now running, of course, your successful label now? And
like the main difference is back then when I did that label there, it was all vinyl. There was nothing else but vinyl. So like, you get your test presses made, then you get three of them. Then you'd like order like 30 promos, send them out to all the DJs, and you'd have to send tunes out to their own home addresses. Yeah. So you'd be asking these guys for home addresses and sending records out. And nowadays it's just like email, so easy to get it out there. Spotify didn't exist, and Spotify now is like a huge part of a record label process. I mean, it's unbelievable how big it is. And you know how much money can be made from it. It's just, people don't realise how big a deal it is.
For Spotify.
Off everything, YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms, you know what I mean?
And just to get you out as a DJ or a producer, you know, your tracks go so much further through Spotify than you can possibly imagine. So say like, we'll go to, I don't know, play the back end of Australia soon, and
people know
you'll play a tune which is like the 3rd one down your Spotify list with like 5-6 million views. Yeah. And you'll think, I never play this tune, but you play it there, and everyone
knows it. It's mad.
And it's solely because of Spotify. That's it. And it would have never ever happened with any other it wouldn't have happened about a year ago, to be honest. But yeah, just the digital age of record labels is completely taken over.
Fair enough.
In a good way, a really, really good way. Yeah. Great way to get your music out there.
Absolutely. So obviously, you both have deep roots and deep connections to Manchester. Both support United. If Solardo,
I guess United right now.
Shouldn't have said that one, should I? Shouldn't have said United.
Anyway,
what would be the first order of business if Solardo were voted Manchester's mayor?
24-hour clubs, Berlin style. 3 days later, it ain't wrong. But I'll come on through. If you go to Berlin, we've played clubs where they open on a Thursday and sometimes they shut on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Now straight up, like we played a club and like a dead body. Like this is straight up. A dead body got found behind a couch like 3 days into the club being open. Straight, it's no bullshit. Straight up. Yeah, I'd probably. Well, I don't know.
24 hours.
3 days.
Would you back that?
I mean, yeah, go along with that definitely. Mate, I'm tired even thinking of it. I don't know. I'll probably just probably do that. Yeah.
Well, I really want to do a quick fire type round with you guys. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to bounce a name at you, and I just want the first thing that comes into your head.
Go on.
To say out loud. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to start with you.
Go on.
James, on this one. Green Velvet.
Green hair.
Liam Gallagher.
Oh, do you know what? Go on. Green Velvet. His hair's fake. That's all I'm saying.
Is it?
He sticks it on.
Is
we
it?
See it, listen. We see it, listen. There was
This is recorded, you know.
So there was a time when we seen him in an airport and he was walking through and you would have never guessed this guy was Green Velvet. He would look like your local geography teacher with a briefcase. Curtis, we love you. I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
Liam Gallagher.
Legend, cool. Legend.
Jay Oberson.
Incredible DJ, selector.
Manchester City.
Oh, fucking terrible.
You can't see, listen, you're going to get people disliking us. My mum's a season ticket holder and I'm a United fan, so you can imagine.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks a lot for that. The final thing, really, and the final thing I want to sort of mention before we jump into the track, where is Dave the dog actually from?
Oh, he's in my house now.
Where is he actually from?
I think he's from Bolton.
From Bolton?
Yeah. Bolton or Wigan.
It's not a bad thing, though, Bolton. I like Bolton.
Not France.
No, definitely from a council estate in Bolton.
So where's France come from?
But he's not from a fucking
He's not a French bulldog, no.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, he's a French bulldog, but he was born in Bolton.
Definitely.
Someone's
Northwest, born and bred. Go on.
Thank you very much. Well, can we just have a round of applause, first of all? Thank you.
I'm going to get chill. I forgot it was recorded.
So at this point now, we're going to break down your next track. Do you want to, first of all, I'll let you guys do it instead of me doing it. Do you want to introduce the song and perhaps how it all came about?
Yeah, so this reason why I'm going to do this one now is it's Movie Body, which at the moment it's like on Radio 1 quite a lot. So it's on the A-list. It's been there for like the last 4 or 5 weeks, so it's quite relevant to now. I don't know, do you all make tunes here?
Yeah.
Oh, good, right. So it'll be interesting. Otherwise, it'll be boring as fuck, what I'm about to say. So do you know
this is Cubase.
So this is Cubase, but I mean, all these things are all exactly the same. They're all the same as whatever you use, just like doors and sort of shit. So basically what happened was a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, we was nominated for some awards in Ibiza. And we had a transfer from the hotel to the awards ceremony.
Go on.
And Marshall Jefferson was in there with us. We didn't really know.
In the transfer.
We didn't know each other, and we eventually started speaking when we were pissed on the way home. And then he went,
together.
you're these guys, and I said, you guys, and he said, we should do something together because he actually lived in Manchester.
In Prestwich. He's lived.
Marshall
Jefferson has lived in Prestwich for the last 10 years. Get on that.
So he's only just moved.
It's the truth. It's true. It's literally, he moved back to New York about 3-4 weeks ago. Straight up.
How come we were here? What did he...
I think he married an English bird, I think.
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it? So you're in the transfer.
What the fuck you doing living in Manchester, you weirdo? And then he said, all right, we should do something. And then obviously you always say I should do something, and you never do anything. So then randomly, like about 2 years later, Ultra, which is the label we're signed to, they'd got the rights to this track, and they said, do you want to remake it? Because what they wanted to do originally with it would be, because you know sometimes when they get tracks nowadays, they'll like say for instance, Oliver Heldens recently has got a track which is like the same as some other tune.
Yeah.
And he'll say it's his own. I mean, not a bad thing. It's quite bad. But
It's quite bad.
Yeah, quite bad.
So they asked us to do this tune, and I said, no. Said, I cannot get a classic tune, use a riff and say it's our tune. We'll look like the biggest twats on earth.
Ever.
So we said, right. And then he said, I'll do a remix. I said, I'll do whatever. And we said, why don't you just remake it, and then we'll just work out the details after. So he sent us over the parts, and I threw it all together. It came out sounding pretty cool. So I said, why don't you do it, Marshall Jefferson and Solardo, Movie Body? So then I said, yeah, and then this is what happened.
This is what happened, and after...
Which was, in fact, the easiest tune I've ever made in my whole entire life. It literally took me 2 hours.
You know, it was the first house track to ever have a piano riff on. Ever. The original.
This one here?
Yeah.
And it's only just like a sample. It's just like from a...
And the person who sang the vocal was his colleague in the post office that he worked in at the time. The guy who sang the Move My Body vocal, mate, he used to work in a... Go on. He used to work in a post office.
Called the Dude.
He was called the Dude. And he got... Listen, this is all true. And he got the Dude to come back to his basement and sing this... One of the most iconic vocals in the house scene ever was a guy when the...
Dude from the post office.
Yeah. Just 2 kids who was working in the post office in... Is it Detroit it's from? Or Chicago, was it? Anyway.
I can't remember. Chicago.
So you were literally 2 years... So that was 2 years ago when you met him, and then kind of came back to Manchester, and what, did you start the chat then? Did you start it?
No,
it's just the parts got bounced. Yeah. We never saw him again until...
But basically, we met him. We're trying to make it a more interesting story, but basically what happened was really, then the label just contacted us, just said, do you want to do this? I went, yeah, give it a go. And then Randy said, send us the parts over. So we did. And the parts were all over the show. They weren't like, because it was all done on like an old sampler. So, you know, you put shit together and fuck knows how that works. But it was just a big mess putting it all back together. But when they got it back together, it's just so easy. All I had to do really was put a beat on it, a new bass line, and just the arrangement. And then that was it. So it is a tune here.
Yeah. Play it.
But one of the issues was, obviously, because it was an old track, the sound quality is pretty poor, so just a lot of the time spent on this track was just basically mixing it all down. So you'd have your piano parts, and I'm not usually this tidy, I've just done it just to pretend I am. I'd do like a folder, put all the bits into each bit, so you obviously got your piano folder.
Bits into each bits. What a good terminology.
By the way, I don't teach people stuff because I'm horrendous at explaining things, and I don't really know what I'm doing too well. I just like fuck around. But
he's only lying.
I mean, obviously, it's good to come to learn in an environment like this, but I don't have a fucking clue what goes on. But what I do know is like
how to write a very, very big track.
And I use the same shit on all the time on everything. So say like. And I learned this just by watching YouTube videos, some of the stuff. So, like, I'll do this, these additional channel things. What are they called, you know, when you do a channel? Buses, yeah. So basically...
He is semi-joking, like...
I am half joking, but then I'm also being half serious as well.
Then, things...
Right, so if you've got... So I've got my group tracks, and basically every one of these groups is just... got the same stuff on it. I've done like a tutorial on this before. It's just basically got a load of like stuff on it, which basically makes it sound bigger and better. And I don't know why it does it. It's just basically you've got one track, put it into another track, it just does the sound, and that's where you go. So what I just use on every track basically is a decapitator, SSL compressor, and a fab filter EQ. And basically, if it's low quality, I'll put.
Go on, get the EQs up and show them. Obviously, talk through the process instead of.
Here's a prime example of.
Just get the kick up, the lead kick.
No, because I don't think that's the thing we're in. Right, so you see it. I've got a decapitator, which I put on drum fattener. I bring this bit down here, just so it doesn't distort, because if you've got it loud, it'll be like that. Bring it down. So I bring it down so it's just out of a red. And basically what that does, from what I've learned, is you've got your kick there, adds a bit more fluffiness to it, distortion, which if you bring it down just basically makes it sound bigger. So I basically have that on everything. So I'll then EQ it. I'll take the bottom end out of the kick, or the really subby end, because this frequency down here doesn't have any sound at all. It just muffles stuff up. And then take the top end. In this track particularly, took a lot of the top end off because I wanted to recreate an old sounding track. I'm going to bring it up here to give it more of a... If it's to bring it there, it's at that area. See what I'm doing? Yeah. That would be like new sounding. Bringing it up here is just bringing up the sort of crispy part of that actual sound. So that's what I've done basically throughout the whole of that beat.
Have you got Tribesman on there?
No, that's on my old computer. The bass line. So basically, I've done the beat, put it all together. Yeah. Here's the beat back. Oh, wait, turn that bass line off. Oh, wait a minute. Turn that off. And I wanted it to sound quite old because obviously the track's old itself. I didn't want to lose too much of the original sort of vibe. Yeah. If you listen to the original track, it's really quite basic.
Yeah, the most out of tune, out of time.
Out of tune, out of time.
Oh.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned about trying to get your songs to sound really old, but good. So how have you managed over the time? How do you manage to achieve that sound?
So it's just the buses I was just showing you there, and just on the mix in general. So if you look at it, say, the decapitator I use pretty much on everything. And if I don't have it on the tracks here, it's because it uses up a lot of CPU, and what I might just do is bounce it out with a decapitator on and then put it back into the track. Just to take the decapitator off because it uses so much, and then I find on here, you'll start losing stuff or crashing and all that sort of shit.
What was the, and in our early days, what was that, the thingy, the synth, what we had the white noise out of?
Oh, we got Jupiter 8.
So yeah, the Jupiter 8. So basically we got the Jupiter 8 and and we recorded like this white noise sound, and at the start we used to layer it over everything, and just the sound was so wide, it was just perfect. Do you know what I mean? It just like made everything sound super old.
Do you still use that in your music now?
Yeah.
On quite a lot. It depends what sort of track it is, but on this one didn't, because this track was already
It sounded old sounding. But if you're trying to give that effect of... It all depends on what sort of music you make. If you want it, we want our music to try and sound old sounding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It works really well in techno because you just basically, it'll glue your stuff together. So say you've got your kicks, your snares, your hats. It's like putting snow on top of it, and then the little gaps in between, the snow fits in and basically gives you more of a warm sound. But with this track here, because we had old samples in it anyway.
Have you got that? Have you got the white noise sound for them to hear on the samples? Listen to this sound, if you can get it up.
It's disgusting.
Was it Jupiter? Yeah, I'll turn it down a little bit, actually.
I can't find it, but basically it's just a big hiss, which is disgusting. But you bring it really low down and it's fine.
And it makes everything fit.
So then basically did the beats together like that. Dead straightforward. Spent loads of time on the piano just mixing it down because obviously it's pretty poor quality and there's so many different layers to it and different angles, which you can see here. I don't really know why there's so many, to be fair. Let's have a listen. Yeah, so it sounds like I had each one of the keys and I was able to break them up and make the chord from that. I think I was quite lucky with that because usually I think it's just like one together. But I think what it must have done in this case, I think they remade that piano because otherwise it would have originally been a chord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that, left and right it, give it a bit of a 3D sort of effect, and that was the piano for it. And then the main thing was the bass line, which I used this thing here, which is a Analog Lab bassline thing.
ARP 2000.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't even think it is an ARP 2000. There it is. That's obviously with the filter not turned down, but with the filter turned down, it sounds like this.
Definitely doesn't sound like that.
Maybe it doesn't sound like that then.
Not last time I heard it.
I don't know where it is, but basically, yeah, turn the filter down, and that was a bass. I've never used that thing before, because what I did was, pay some guy £400, and he just cracked everything in the world and stuck it on my laptop, so...
Yeah.
Don't do that, home, it's really bad.
That was actually 400 quid, we've got everything, you name it, everything.
And what I do often is just mess around, just flicking through everything, and then I just randomly come across stuff, and this is one of the things I randomly came across. So I can't tell you any information about it, because I've only ever used it once in this track. And then...
I love your honesty, Mark.
I was going to say, what advice do you have for maybe producers who...
No, but we have bought a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we have.
No, we have. But then we just got bored of buying stuff. You know, I even bought some, like... I bought one thing, I can't remember what it was.
Omnisphere, 420 quid.
Yeah, that was bad. But I actually bought something legitimately, and I couldn't install it. And I was PSP plug-in stuff. And I was ringing him up asking for...
activation code.
How to work out how to do it, and this like German guy down the phone speaks to me like an absolute knob. I thought, right, you know what? I'm gonna go and get a crack copy. And then I did, and it worked straight away. So then that's why I started thinking maybe crack copy's the way forward. So, but I still buy stuff though.
No, we don't.
No, we do.
Stop lying.
I've got the boxes upstairs.
1.
2. I've got Hallion and Trillion. No, Trillion and Omnisphere.
Yeah, go on.
But yeah, so
we're not encouraging the way, basically.
No, we're not encouraging.
No, it's not really.
You know,
because
it's just...
Yeah.
You know, but basically, if you're a producer just starting out, not everybody's got £450 to spend on one plug-in.
Yeah.
You know.
And like, jokes aside, me saying I paid £400 for all that stuff is probably not the best idea because I only use certain things. I mean, on that occasion, I've used that different bass line, but the majority of times I use the same things over and over again. And if you have too much stuff in front of you, or like, even if you're like buying it legitimately, it's like, you're just going to overdo stuff and you're not going to get to learn something properly because these plugins, some of them are really shit, but some of them are really powerful and like, you need to spend time to make sure you get the best out of it. And if you're just moving from plugin to a plugin, you're never going to get the best out of stuff.
Yeah.
I say this now, but I mean, I fuck around moving from plugin to plugin, but there's certain ones that I'll always stick with.
It's just that each producer's formula is going to find what works for them.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's different, you know. Everyone uses a certain compressor, a certain delay, a certain EQ. It's just all what works for you and how you can, you know, get your workflow quicker.
Yeah.
So you can move on stuff, do you know what I mean? Because a lot of new producers, it's so easy to just get stuck on one project, innit? You know, like when you'll just keep listening and listening and listening, just create loads of different ideas and then leave, don't listen to it for a day or two.
Yeah.
And then you'll get an honest sound of it. You know, when you go back a day or two to an 8-bar loop, you might think, oh my God, that's amazing, or it's shit, and then obviously carry on with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we used to do at the start, you know, just like go in and like get loads of different ideas and then obviously extend, and then go back a day or two later to that loop, and if you go, oh my God, extend it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a big thing though, like if you're all learning to make tunes or if you know how to make tunes and you're just wanting to make, like get them out there, is I know a lot of people through my career, like when I first started out and up until now, there's always people, and you must, probably a lot of you in here, think, oh, it's not ready yet, and they go back to the same tune, and it goes on for months. Yeah. And some people like might make a tune over weeks, and you think, how can you make a tune over weeks? Because you just lose the complete...
Everything about it.
You lose a whole edge of making music. Like, if I don't make a tune fully done, well, I get the idea down in a day, I scrap it usually. Yeah. I mean, sometimes if I'm on the move, I'll do the ideas and put the ideas down and then come back here. But you need to really just... You've got to make decisions
quickly,
when you make tunes. And, like, part of the art of making music is actually making decisions, because you could sit all day long thinking, oh, that's all right, and then come back to it, or change it, then, oh, no, I don't like it, and change it again. But you need to make decisive decisions, because if you don't, you'll just be sat there all day long, and the music world doesn't sit around waiting for you. You've got to keep up with the music world, and that's what a lot of people don't learn. I mean, there's still people, when I went to uni, one guy who I made tunes with to start with, and I swear to God, he was a lot better at making tunes than me, a lot better. And he probably still is a lot better than me now. But he just is not decisive, and he's probably still making the same tunes he made like 20 years, 15 years ago.
Yeah, our biggest tracks got wrote in 2 hours, isn't it? Our biggest tracks, like with
this tune was 2.5 hours.
Multiple, obviously, no, I'm not sound like a wanker or anything. We've had like quite a lot of number ones on Beatport and stuff, and every single one of them has been wrote in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like Tribesman, mate, like an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? And it changed our lives. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it goes to show that if you can get that winning formula, and you honestly, one tune. I was looking at, you remember Ben Pearce? One tune changed his life, toured the world, seen everything. Do you know what I mean? It's mental how one track,
and also
5 minutes of one thing can completely change everything.
Yeah. And also, you don't know, if you knew what was a good tune, you'd be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, of course you would.
So like sometimes you've got to just say, well, I'll give this a go, because your taste isn't going to be the same as everyone else. I've made tunes which I thought, all right, and then
people are just going, oh my God.
Yeah, and then I've also made tunes which I think that's fucking amazing. And everyone that's a wank. So
it's true.
So that's, I mean, it's good. I mean, you obviously need to know to a certain extent what's good and what's not good, but you've also got to take those, you've got to make those decisions, you've got to take those risks. And, you know, the biggest, best tunes, maybe not the best, but some of the biggest tunes are ones which sound completely different to everything else.
Yeah.
And to get those completely different sounding tunes, you've got to just do things which are out of your comfort zone. And, I mean, I'm big talking now, but I mean, I will go back and just say, oh, I feel comfortable doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I make a few of those tunes and think, oh, fuck that, I'm going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
And that's the way you should really try and think about it.
Yeah, because it's like it's like Patrick Topping, he works inside the box. Like Waff don't even own a set of headphones, set of monitors. You know what I mean?
Uses headphones.
You know what I mean?
On that.
We've got a lot of hardware upstairs.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And like we use our first tunes we ever made.
It was just all off the Moog.
Everything was off the Moog. Same bass line.
Same bass line off everything, just tweaked.
But what's good about that, it makes life a lot easier, because you don't have to mix it down so much.
You're not
because it's a naturally good sound.
Through a different preset. Because obviously, I'm sure people get caught up in that, right? Write a pattern, go through preset after preset after preset after preset all your life to try and find the right sound.
Yeah. Because it's not just a sound; it's a mix. So you can make a track. And I've always said you can polish a turd when it comes to tunes. Like, if it sounds shit, if you mix it down well enough, it's not going to sound that bad.
Right. Okay.
And then to get to that level, like, not get to that level, but certain sounds will sound shit until you mess around with them, and then they will sound good in the end. Or they might sound amazing, but you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't messed around with it otherwise. That's why people get bogged down. I mean, I get bogged down a lot in presets, but try and just make decisive decisions and move quickly on things, and that's the biggest thing I can say.
With that in mind, and maybe even with this track, how does a decision get made between the two of you? If, let's say...
Well, listen, obviously, there's 100% trust between us, innit? Obviously, I know he knows and he knows I know, do you know what I mean?
And it's not just fully down to us now. Like,
yeah, obviously, because we're signed to a label, theoretically, they've got the final decision what goes out and how it goes out, and if there's a change, obviously that's what happens if you get signed to a major, they have the last say. Obviously, we're fortunate that we've got a massive output with the label. Obviously, we release every week, so, a lot of people know where we're at musically because of the music that is consistently coming out on the label every Friday, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And the label, like Ultra, they trust us to an extent. But I have given them tunes recently, but I thought, this is amazing.
The best thing
and they
ever,
go,
just go, no,
maybe you just play it out for a bit, see how it goes.
Let's see the reaction. No.
That basically is, maybe play out for a bit, see how it goes. That means that's shit. We're definitely not putting that tune out. Yeah. So
if you say, right, that's it, done, come on, right, campaign, that's when you know.
But that's just like I say, like, I thought that tune was amazing, but then I give them tunes which you don't think are amazing, and they say, let's go with this, and I'll go, oh. And then, so you just don't know. You've got to make those decisions in life.
Yeah, wonderful.
Quick decisions, yeah.
Wonderful. So,
and also one other thing, actually, when you're sending tunes out, and you have got your tracks to a certain level, getting them mastered is definitely probably worth it, because, when DJs get stuff, if you give me the best tune in the world and you give me a pre-mastered version of -6...
You're never going to play it, ever.
Really?
You might play it once and then think, oh, that's so low.
And turn your gains up to, you know what I mean?
So for the sake of paying £15 for a master...
Yeah, even use Landar. I've signed so much stuff with just been mastered off Landar, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or even Ozone 8 nowadays.
I know.
Ozone 8 is really, really good. Like, all you do is press the button and it'll do it all for you. Yeah. Get those levels up, that's what you need to concentrate on.
So if basically, I mean, obviously, not just with this tune, but if someone was sending you a tune then and it wasn't sort of, like you said, mastered or anything, you wouldn't play it, you wouldn't look at it?
Yeah, no, listen, it all depends on what the elements are, I'm not sounding like a wanker, but like I feel I've got a good ear for A&R in music, and so does he, do you know what I mean? I call it the, like, 10-15 second rule. I can click from intro, breakdown, like 5 times, and I can know off that quickly if this tune's right for us, if we're going to play it, is it a potential for the label, do you know what I mean? Because obviously, because we get inundated, I've got an email address there with 10,000 unread, unopened demos, and obviously it's very time-consuming doing labels, trying to A&R yourself, because we want our label, the imprint is what is a reflection of where we're at musically, do you know what I mean? And it's not easy running a label, let me tell you.
Like he says, when you flick through a track...
Proper Pete, if you want to go on, sorry.
If it's low quality, instantly your ears turn off to it. That's why when you send out your tracks, it should either be mastered or at least... Landard or Ozone, because, like you say, you flick through it, we literally flick bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, bang, bang, bang.
And if it's low, it doesn't catch your ear, so it's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to go through and show the people on the track?
Anyone want to know anything about it? Might be easier, because I can bore you to death all day long about frequencies and shit, which I don't even understand myself, but I can pretend to do.
So you mentioned that you use like some of the synths and stuff for basics. What kind of go-tos do you normally use?
So at the moment, what I use for sub bass is a Diva, something called Diva. Yeah. It's because it's like really warm sounding, and it's like it does sound quite analog like, because I'd like to go for analog sounding stuff. We do use the Moog still quite a lot. We've got a Voyager, we've got a Little Fatty Phase 2. We've got other stuff in there, but like we'd never use it at all, because you can do the same thing now in the box. So like, we've got a DV7, a real one, and then you can get it on air.
Yeah.
And probably for free if you get it.
And you've A and B'd it, and they just sound exactly the same now in this day and age. You know what I mean?
Exactly the same. Yeah. And it's a hell of a lot easier.
Maybe not to that, but it's virtually the same.
To a normal listener, they wouldn't know whether. Maybe
Mick from Camel Fat did it, didn't he? With that thing with a synth, what's worth about.
A Korg.
It's worth a lot of money, and then obviously done the plug-in, and it's just like
the exact same.
It's virtually exactly the same.
And I use Silent now. I've only just started using it like over the last 2-3 weeks, but that seems really cool. That's because I've just got a load of presets off someone, so I flick through them. Don't do that though.
Yeah. Cracked.
Yeah, obviously.
Nah, listen.
No, actually, no, I bought
Do you know what?
Silent
People
actually.
overanalyze that they need how to make music. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. You know how people can overanalyze it so much and get lost. You know, when really let's have it right. You're just trying to make people dance on a dance floor, realistically, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what a DJ
It don't matter how
is.
you get there. It's the end products, and that's like the main. I don't use Massive though so much. I used to use Massive years ago, but I just think Massive sounds too digital for what I do. Maybe it's come on a bit, but I used to use that all the time, but not so much now.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm actually going to open it up at this point. Does anyone have any questions just in regards to the actual track, first of all?
Don't be put off by the accents.
No, mate, I love Scousers.
I might have missed that part then, but when you're talking about the ozone and putting that on your master, do you have that while you're mixing, or do you put that on
Yeah.
stage?
On and off.
Well, it's,
Yeah, what do you put on your master?
I'll show you. So here's what I do. Like,
can I use your toilet? Yeah. I don't know why I'm asking.
so do any of you know what ozone is? Yeah. It's the easiest thing.
Would you just be able to just speak into the mic and just repeat, just so everyone can hear the question as well?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just want to know what you use on your master channel while you're mixing. Do you put the ozone on afterwards, or do you have it whilst you're mixing through?
So I have it going on intermittently. I keep the levels, as you can see on the mixer there. Everything's really low. I don't know why they're up loud, but they're usually really low. And I'll have the ozone on pretty much all the time. You know, once I've got a bit of a track together, I'll then run this Master Assistant. So does anyone know what ozone is?
Is that what you use, the Master Assistant?
Yeah, so watch this. So say I'll just press. Maybe not do that. I'll just turn it down. On here. Right, yeah. I don't know why I was doing that, but I'd press that Master Assistant there and then click the CD, a medium, press next and tune it. It's probably not going to work now because I don't know why it's cracking away, but it'll basically just analyse it and then give you a master to work with as you go along. And then I'll just flick in between the two of them, and then I think it helps a lot having a master on because you get an idea of how it's actually going to sound, which you really need.
Is it just the ozone that you use on while you're doing it, or do you have like a compressor as well?
No. So then I've got camel fat on there, which is the best thing ever. On all you do with this is just basically go down to here, click clear preset, and it'll stop it from clipping. So say I don't know how it works, I don't know what goes on there, but for some reason it just stops it from clipping. So if I have this turned off, my master's going to go into red and be clipping all day long, and you think, how am I going to get this down? And then you turn down the levels and it just sounds shit. You put that on, it just goes. And yeah, that's it really.
That was Ozone 8, was it, yeah?
Ozone.
Tried 9 yet, or?
I didn't even know it was out. There's a crack copy available.
Yeah, I got it today.
No, but listen, like originally it was ozone free. What we got used on everything of ours.
Yeah, I saw
It made it used to sound old, you know, because it's an older program.
Yeah.
And I had like a preset set up on Ozone 3, and I didn't realise this Ozone 8 was so easy to use. And then once I got this, I just give it a go and never went back.
Yeah, I've just been using a preset called Brighton overall mix.
Really, yeah.
Just to give it a master.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know you could do that master assistant.
Oh, mate, yeah, it's the best.
Where it analyses.
Yeah. And all our tunes, every tune we play out, if it's not been released, is all got that on. Yeah. So it's just, that's the master we use.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you use potentially on, let's say, that you'll always go to for a vocal, or that you'll always go to for a sample?
Yeah, so on the vocal, I don't know what the vocal's like on this, but I'll see what's on there. There was a hell of a lot of vocals involved in it, so maybe... They all came quite good, but this is what I use it. I'll always use this SSL, and I use that instead of volume, so I'll get it to a particular volume, and then all I do is just use this threshold, and that'll bring it into the mix, or out of the mix, and just make it sit in there properly, opposed to, if you use a volume, you can't get it to fit in properly, because it sort of thins it out and just brings it in and thins it out just squeezes it into position. And then I use the FabFilter EQ, usually take the bottom end off and also the top end, and like here, just give it a little bit there, just so you can actually hear it. So I find if you put it there, you'll get just as much clarity as you would do there, but a lot warmer. a bit crisper. So I'd take this off, particularly on vocals, you'll get the wispiness and you want to always get rid of that digital sort of sound, so that goes off there. And then I'll just use you won't have this if you don't use Cubase, but it's just a ping pong delay. And the reason why I use this is because it's dead easy. I just bring down feedback and the mix and then put it on like 1/4, and then it's just dead easy. So let's see what this sounds like now with that one.
Do it before and after, like without the plugins on.
Yeah.
It's gonna set you free.
Oh, sounds mad that.
It's gonna set you free.
And that's without it.
Music's gonna set you free.
Yeah, so it just basically cleans it up. Particularly the SSL compressor there is, for me, I use that on pretty much every track, on everything, vocals, kicks, bass lines, snares, hats, everything. It's just the way forward.
In terms of, I definitely remember the first time I heard Tribesman, for example, and I remember the thing that really stuck out to me was the low end. I said to you before, how it just hits everything.
That's how that was on the Moog, wasn't it? Yeah.
And breaks everything. I was going to say, how do you, and I think from just listening to the other stuff as well that we listened to in the studio, you've definitely got the low end sorted. That's always something I always think of with Solardo.
Yeah.
Again, from a mixing point of view, perhaps someone who can't afford a Moog or doesn't have that, is there any tips that you can try and, give them to try and achieve not so much your sound, but so it bangs, basically? Anything that little trips of the trade, if you will.
Yeah, so if you can find a bass line on there, I think, because I usually make if I use a VST, I'll convert it into mono audio eventually, because then you've got a lot more control over it. I just don't like having VSTs running for bass lines or synths because I find you lose control. It might just because I'm on Cubase, I don't know. But say here's the bass line, which has been converted to. So that's got a side chain on it, so the kick just fits in that gap. And like I said again, I use this here, this SSL compressor. Again, because it just brings it into the mix. And then Fab filter. This isn't the usually I'd take a lot more bottom end off. For some reason I must have just kept it on because it works in this scenario. But if I was mixing the bass line, it would usually look something like, maybe not like that.
Could you show us while it was playing as well, so that everyone can get a thing?
Cool. I'd usually use it like that. We've got it up. You can't really tell too much on the speakers, but taking off that bottom end there, that element there is, you're not losing any bass, you're just losing the muffly sound, which on your home speakers you might not hear, but in a big rave you will hear because it's just adding sort of dirt and shit you don't need into it.
Yeah.
On this bass line here, I don't usually bring up, round here, but because it had that sort of 3D sort of feel to it, that sort of just brought out, that frequency was basically around where that sound. Yeah, so that's what I did there. But usually if I was doing a bass line, sub bass, that would all go. It looks something like that.
Wonderful. And then
This isn't a good example of
Get Ecstasy up and show them the. Have you got Ecstasy, the program, the thing is, original file on that computer?
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, don't look at the folders, Pornhub. Tour folders.
I guess while that is loading up, how's touring changed the way that you guys have to make music when you're not in the studios?
Very limited time, mate, realistically. And you find, if you look throughout all the really big acts that are touring, maximise, before you start getting big, maximise and the amount of music that you make, let me tell you, because when you start going on the road, properly on the road, unless you can, if you're good at making, when you're rough and in hotel rooms and stuff, obviously we was always used to being in a studio. Yeah. Where some people can work on the road and stuff, but obviously touring obviously limits you massively to how you can make music, unbelievably. Yeah. And when you get to a certain level, you don't have to put music out every month or every 2 months or every 3 months, as long as you're putting out a couple of big records a year.
Then you're all right.
To keep your head relevant.
Yeah.
That's the key, mate. Relevance, mate, because the music industry is changing so quickly all the time. What's relevant today could be not tomorrow, and not.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your ear on the pulse, mate. Believe me.
How do you do that then? So how?
I look at a lot of other leading artists, and like obviously because we play stages with a lot of different people. If say if you're playing before Jamie Jones, he's a tastemaker in that scene. Go and listen to what he's playing. Go and listen to what other people are playing. Obviously, we're in a fortunate position that we get sent all the demos before they go to promo. Or so obviously it's good to keep on top of what, because like with the label and stuff and what you're putting out, it's not what's relevant now. You've got to try and think of what's relevant in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
What's going to be the summer banger? What's going to be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And think about elements of how to make it.
And that's what we're doing now. So we've taken this time off for January and February. We were meant to have no time off. I mean, no gigs, but a couple will just pop in and you think, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, agreed. But it is what...
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then, but you need this time to make music. So we're making tunes now, which you'll hear, which we might not get to go in the studio again for the rest of the year. I mean, we might do, but we won't be able to...
Some bobs, though. After next
doing loads of
month, there's
different
going to be no
ideas.
studio time at all.
Because you're on the road, festival season.
But what I've been doing recently is just basically making loads of ideas. I mean, pretty much playable ideas, like pretty much done. But when I'm on the road, I can at least mix them properly on my headphones and do it. Because I've got like well, I've got 2 different sets of headphones, but my favourite ones are using these new Neumann ones.
Neumann ones.
Yeah, and I can actually like mix down probably better than I can on speakers. So I won't waste my time mixing down in the studio when I can do it.
Just get the idea together.
So
and then
maybe use
mix
hardware
it
that you can't take.
Planes.
Yeah. Because it's hard to, if you walk around the keyboard and stuff whilst travelling, or even a little keyboard's a bit of a pain in the arse if you're on a plane. But if you've got like the idea together with all the keys down and that sort of shit, you just put headphones on and you can do. For me, the enjoyable part is when you've got the idea there and just messing around with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the frustrating part is starting from scratch and trying to get the original, the idea. So the frustrating part is done now. Because it's a hell of a lot. I mean, it sounds bad, but if you're partying a lot and you're like on tour or drinking and stuff, it's so hard to come up with ideas. When you've got a fresh head and you're living healthily, it's so much easier. That's why. I'm not like...
No, it's true.
I'm not a vision of health now, but I mean, I'm a lot better than what I am for a few months down the line.
Because, there's not an option to eat home-cooked food. You're constantly in airports and you're making do with what's there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to... I'm pretty sure everyone in the room knows what this track is, or have at some point come across it. Massive tune.
So this one is a lot more complicated than the other one because it has so many elements to it. The main being like the bass line. So the bass line on this is done by... it's sort of two. So you've got the synthy sort of thing, which is like a mid-range sort of bassy sort of sound, but then you've also got a sub bass, and the sub bass is... I didn't used to do this sort of stuff, but it was basically done by a big kick, and then a kick in between sort of thing. So you got your... Oh, wait a minute, I've got to set this up. That's what happens when you've got cracked copies, you've got to mess around all the time like this. This isn't... All right.
Not having it, no.
Is that a tune? Right, so that's the bass line, and then it's a tom bass. So it sounds completely different to what it does, when it's all together. But that's just an example of, when I was saying to you, you might have an idea and then you'll think to yourself, I don't like that idea. But a lot of end results don't sound like they actually sound to get there, sort of thing. So sometimes you should just keep on going with the idea you originally have and just make it work for you, sort of thing. So this here was, if you look at tom bass, is... What I would have done in this, because there's so many elements, I would have bounced it out having already been processed and then put it back in again. So I'm assuming... I would have thought that side chain, but it's not. And then there's an actual bass kick as well. So you got your bass. Let's see where it is. So I've got. So that's the top of the kick. So this kick is basically made out of 3 different kicks, but one of the kick is just a loop, which gives it a bit of life, sort of thing. But you've got your top, your bottom, and your middle. And then you've got the simp sound, which is not from Alan Fitzpatrick. It's from, which everyone said it is, but it's not. It's from the Prodigy Android, like a tune from like the 80s. But where is it now? So that again, like I said, I've just used that SSL compressor. That has been mixed before, so it would have had like an EQ on, taking the top off, taking a bit of the bottom off, and we've pushed up in the middle to get that distorted sort of sound, which would have been originally in the sound. And that's really, that really. And it's also got a delay on it to give it like more of a 3D sort of feel. I think it's probably, yeah, spatial. So basically when it's doing its delay, it's filling that space. So instead of using like a digital imager or something to make it more stereo, the delay does it for us. Yeah, so that's that really. Any questions?
The sample, did you just get that straight off the old record?
The Android sample?
Yeah.
Yeah, was done, yeah. But in the actual track itself, it's completely by itself in the middle. So it's dead easy, just took it off and put it on there.
And then did you just stick that into a sampler and then just like mess around with it a little bit, or?
Yeah, so it's not a sample on Cubase. You put it onto an audio track and then you pull it into a sample track. It's dead easy nowadays. I don't know if it's like the same on Ableton, but you just pull it in. And then once you pull it in, you have control on the keyboard. Dead easy. But one of the biggest pain in the asses of this was the clearance of vocals. So I don't know if you've ever come across that, but you know, when we first started, we could do anything. We could put like Mariah Carey on a track.
Yeah, because you don't realise what it entails.
But now we get sued like literally all the time. Every track, everyone tries. Even like sample packs, like.
Yeah, tribesmen, for example. Yeah, like the people who like. I found that sample on literally an hour-long African chant, yeah? What at the time was looking for vocals, and it was genuinely, and we found it. And then when the track got released, someone had obviously sampled the same mana, 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 and they tried to sue us for it, saying that we had took it off their sample pack, and we was like,
no, this guy...
We sent him the hour-long African chant off YouTube.
But this guy was from the Netherlands.
He was like, shut up.
No, he said that he went to the actual recorded the tribes himself.
He recorded the tribes, tried to.
Oh, we ended up giving him 20% of the track because you can't really. I don't know why we agreed to it, but we just couldn't be arsed with the legalities. And then,
be careful where you find your stuff from.
On the flip to that tune was Psycho Ex-Girlfriend, and that sample was from.
And we got sued for that as well.
Got sued for that. And that was from a Beatport sound pack. And so the problem with when you see samples, when you think they're royalty-free, they're not usually. Because, I mean, if you ever made a sound pack, I have, you just rob the samples from someone else's pack and put them into... I mean, so we're here. I'm only joking. So if they're not royalty-free, and the problem is that when you get sued, they'll sue you, and then you have to sue the sample pack. And... You're not going to be able to find me and tell you if you're trying to sue me and I made that sample pack. I guarantee you that now. Yeah. So it just becomes a massive legal pain in the arse. You end up having to pay these.
Yeah, just be careful where you get your bits and bobs from when you.
So how did you get around that for this track?
So this one, that was Martha Wash singing originally from an old track. And
the label sorted it out.
And so the label sorted it. He was going to.
She wanted to be.
She wanted to be on the song. She wanted to.
She wanted it to full-on feature on this.
But she's 91 years old. And I didn't think it was a good look for us.
I know. In the music video, you wheel her out. In the extra.
So there's companies like we used someone called. In fact, we used 2 different replay companies. The first one was called Scirocco, And he gave us the biggest piece of shit replay you've ever heard in your life. But, and
like
this guy,
everything,
and then I said to him, £1,800 for this re-sing, and
it was the worst thing you've ever
the worst
heard.
thing ever. Then I said, "Are you for real it?" But you've obviously done this. And then he literally wrote a book back to me about how many years he's been doing this for. And I thought, fuck me, if you spent that much time writing that on this vocal, we'd all be fucking winners here. But we weren't. So then we had to go someone else and another 1,800 down. And basically, they've got someone who sounds like that person, re-sang it. And it just came out amazing. But then you have to go through, you find the publisher, the owner. And it's just such a pain in the ass. But when you make these tunes which go on the radio, or even tunes which go anywhere nowadays, you just got to be really careful with your samples because people come for you. The minute you start doing well, they come for you. I mean, we used to put tunes out where you obviously never worried about anything. But now, literally, every possible thing, even, and it's even having a go.
I've got a funny story.
Today's News. Have you heard that? We've got a tune called Today's News, and there's a tom sound in it, which is quite... it was in that Black Legend tune. And the original place was DHS House of God. And we had to have that remade.
One
sound.
We had the sound remade. It's like £400 because there's a company who you give them a sound and they'll remake it exactly the same. You put it in your record and you can't get sued. Yeah. But these people now, still to this day, keep on once every month or so ring up my manager saying that's definitely our sound, definitely our sound. They give up on it.
I know.
We only
It's
made
like
about £100.
Michael Beebe and Hanging Tree. Do you know what I mean? It's like the woman. What was it out of? Game of Thrones.
No.
Was it Game of Thrones?
Oh, Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. The woman who wrote the books wanted to sue Michael Beebe, and if you try and find Hanging Tree online now, do you know what I mean? It's gone.
Really?
Yeah, it's gone off everything. They took it off everything. I don't know. It might be back on YouTube now, but at the time, because it went #1, and they literally stripped him of everything on the back end of that.
Because they used the sample without their say so.
You need to be extremely careful.
So to get around that, then the way that you guys do it is to use these companies who basically remake.
Yeah, you can resing.
But you still got to go through the legal
legalities.
Because even
at the start, it's relevant.
definitely. But I mean, these tunes go on radio. You know, the minute anyone starts smelling money in the air, they're on you.
Yeah.
They think, oh, you're making money. Go for you straight away. Yeah. It'll even come. I know people, well-known DJs, who've taken people to court over a bongo riff.
And this is a... Should we... No.
Nah, we won't say the person, but
so
well-known DJ. You will know him very well.
Yeah, some of our friends, I used to like him, but until he took some of our mates to court over a bongo.
And you will not believe who his solicitor was.
And you can probably guess who the solicitor was.
Judge Jules.
Go on,
Is it a true story?
Come on, let's just stop. Let's just...
So, no, he was a solicitor. He's not the bad guy in this story.
Right.
So yeah,
took to court people in the same scene over a bongo, and literally, I'm not even joking, over one bongo sound.
Did you win?
He won.
Yeah.
He won.
So the point is, you got to be careful where you sample from, because
be very careful.
People will come for you. As soon as you start doing well, we will do.
It's mad though. On Splice, royalty free. Well, you just don't know what's royalty free anymore.
Fair enough. So apart from the sampling, that is there anything else that anyone? Yeah. Do you want to?
I thought he was going to drop it then, try and catch it.
With Ecstasy, did you... So you had those vocals in mind and you wrote the track around those vocals?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, originally what it was, when I got the vocal from Eli Brown, it was just Shining in Ecstasy. And that was the only thing being said. And then I went and found the original vocal sampled, and all I did was... I don't know if you know what it is. So basically, you got your vocal. You would have cut it up, the original thing, the original vocal. Then if you pull it back, you can listen to what the rest of the vocal was. And it just happened to be that verse, and it just fitted amazingly. And sometimes I'm a believer that, some things just happen for a reason, because if you try making a tune around a vocal and try and get it in the same key, it never ever works. But then sometimes it just fits in place.
It falls into place.
You'll make a tune, you put a vocal on it, it fits in key, you think, that is a sign.
It's back to that rule of this, like I said, our biggest tracks have been made in 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That tune was literally about 2-3 hours. Yeah. But the mix down takes ages. So these I'm not saying they make dead quick, but the mix downs take days, Yeah. You'll go back and forth, listen,
see how it sounds on a big system.
You guys were able to do that and see what's quite working, what's perhaps not.
And I reckon if you've made tunes before, you must listen to it in the cars, because
Yeah,
car
the
is the
test
place.
vital.
Yeah.
It's the first port of call. Car test it.
Yeah. And also iPhone earplugs.
Yeah, AirPods.
iPods. Yeah.
Completely could change the game for me. A&R in music, mate. Them things, literally, because you can do it on the fly. Because you're getting sent stuff so often, you can just flick through. Honestly, mate.
But the reason why you listen to them to do your mix downs is because you want to listen to your tunes on a format that you listen to the most amount of music, so which would be
radio play, car system,
radios and iPods, and then you can really compare it properly. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Would you mix a song to, well, it depends what it is, but would you mix a song mainly for either radio or AirPods or for the big system?
It depends what the tunes.
Yeah,
like a tune like this, you got to hit an in between sort of thing.
Yeah, because that was a club record. that like Ecstasy was never wrote as to be like a radio friendly record in any way, shape or form. It was obviously made for UK festival season with a big hands in the air moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But with this tune and like a lot nowadays, you also got like. At the time, we didn't think like that, but when it started getting some legs and we then had to go back over the mix, we thought we need to do certain elements which are going to be heard because, see, that the kick being an 808 or the big bassy sort of thing, that's not going to be heard on a shit radio in a car. So if you're driving around like a car with no bass, it's just going to be nothing. So then certain elements like that, you've got to put some distortion on, so at least you can hear
on the tops and
sound, just so you get an idea. Because some tunes, if you don't have that on. If you just had a tune with just pure
sub, lost in it.
Yeah,
it's not going to translate well on radio.
Yeah.
So,
Anyone else any other questions on Ecstasy? Chat there.
Yeah, on your drums, do you put any like swing quantize on the drums, or is it different swing on each set of percussion?
You usually put about 20% on.
About 20%.
I'm not really into that really swingy stuff. I like, 20%, it's just nice, it rolls nicely. When you put too much swing on it, it just sounds a bit crooked, I think. I know people like crooked stuff, but I don't.
Is it the same swing on every single bit of percussion, or do you alter it on each one's?
Well, so say I'm not too sure if there is, there might be like one loop in it to bring it together, but if there is a loop, I would have cut it into little bits and put it like I have done there, you see on the top percussion area there. I would have cut it into all its little segments and then I would have put that in the same quantize as everything else. Because if you have it all different quantized and you've got different hi-hats going over, it's just going to blur into one blurry mess. It's all got to be the same.
Any other questions on Ecstasy?
I've got a question, but it's not related to the track.
Yeah.
Have you got like one track,
Have you got one track where you think that is just perfect? Like everything about it's perfect. Like I know you said Mike. Obviously, I speak to Mike out of Camel Fat. I've bumped into him when I've been DJing a few times and stuff. And Dave went to a mad party in Dave's house. But yeah, I remember when Levels came out. Like Mike was convinced there was some kind of conspiracy theory, and that like he got help with it because he was like, I just can't get over how perfect it is. Levels, he's just absolutely flawless, perfect.
Yeah.
Have you got any track by anybody that you think that is just so perfect?
That's a deep question, that. Wow.
It's hard because, there's so many tracks you'll listen to and think, that's perfect because that's what it's meant to be, sort of thing. But then,
do you know what's a good one for me personally?
Timbaland is perfect.
Yeah, Bicep Glue is a big one. Do you know what I mean? It's different. There's what's that finger tune? Oh, fucking. Go on, it'll come.
Sirens?
Go on. Nah, it's not Bicep. I just. Go on, anyway.
I don't think that, for me, I don't think that it's a good mix, personally, that glue. But that's just me. But they probably made it to sound like that. That's probably what they wanted to sound like. So it's really hard to say what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, it's all down to personal opinion, isn't it, really?
But I do think if you're actually going for mixes and clarity, if you listen to people like the Neptunes and Timbaland, that's where you're hearing
the
proper mixes. Because, I'm only going on by, say if they've got a snare which is like a wooden snare, you're actually hearing that wood resonate, and that's, for me, a good mix. But people do mixes different ways for different reasons.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other questions on Ecstasy? Or, in fact, actually, with the time it is now, I think we can pretty much open up questions for anything, really, for Solardo. It's left me dry then, didn't it?
So, I just wanted to find out, obviously, with the world being so volatile at the minute, what would you say to obviously startup guys trying to get out there? So Facebook and social.
Yeah, personally, I don't think it's just, you know, in this day and age now, it's unfortunate, it's not just about the music anymore. It's about a 360 thing, and it's sad to say. It's about image, it's about who you know, what you know. It's obviously music, do you know what I mean? It's so much more, like, with this digital day and age, mate, you know, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's artists out there who've just made the career on the back end of social media and being a character. Yeah. And, you know, it's mental, it's crazy, you know. I don't think there's any one particular rule anymore, where it used to be make some fucking good music and get it in the right people's hands and the right platforms to showcase it on, and people will recognise what you're doing. Yeah. But in this day and age, there's so many different inroads to becoming a big recognised artist, where some people are just made up in a boardroom with a load of bigwigs, and they'll just go and find a man to go and showcase it. You know, it's in this day and age in the music scene is, you know, I
think if you're looking for
one rule,
but you need, like, for me, I think you need a starting block, and I think the starting block has to be your music. Like, if that's what you want to be, a music artist, you got to look at music as your first port of call, and like, you can't do anything else without that. You can't. Well, you can to a certain extent, but you still need music in place to do the image thing, to do the character thing. You need that solid base of solid, decent music. And then everything else is just a bonus on top to take you to different levels, sort of thing. So I would just focus, personally, if I was here now starting a course or halfway through a course, and it's just basically spend all your time on music itself. I mean, we did, like...
For years.
We had nothing else to do, really, at the time, so we had to. But even like, we didn't get involved in like local DJing. It's just because we just thought it was just a waste of time, when that time could be used to be making music, to do that DJing further on down the line at a higher level.
So just to follow up to that, what would you guys do differently if you were starting out?
Probably wouldn't do anything different.
Pretty hard to say. Do you know what I mean? Because it's worked extremely well for us. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'd be difficult
Might be
to do
vegan
anything.
along the way.
What you say?
Might become a vegan on the way. Might have got.
Probably last a bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, just based on that, then, if it is very difficult, what would you say that you guys look for when signing people to your label, signing new artists?
Different, and obviously we've got a very fun thing. You know, you probably know that we've brought a lot of the Manchester. You know, I'm not going to. Yeah, we've brought quite a lot of the Manchester talent through, and obviously both of us pride myself on trying to find new, raw Manchester acts to give the platform to, you know, and Manchester is one of the hottest scenes about in this world now. Do you know what I mean? If you look at like the Mason Collective boys, like even the people in the studio, AJ downstairs, Remy, you know, these like, even like Joseph Edmund, there's so many like raw, hot underground acts coming through. So I personally try and look for different, not run-of-the-mill, something what stands out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think in the tech house...
It's oversaturated, oh my God, with that generic sound, what could be the same... basically, everybody's trying to replicate losing it, basically, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or they just use like a square-sounding bass line, which, unfortunately, you get a lot of people who are like, very snobbish towards tech house music because there's so much of that going on. There's so many of those tunes which sound generically the same. Yeah. But I mean, that's going to happen if it's one of the most popular musics in the world. Say if you've got 1 million people making, and 10% of them make a similar sounding tune, that's a hell of a lot more people than 10% of 1,000 people making a sort of tune. So as a producer or anyone wanting to get out there, just be different to what's saturating the market. Because you might think the saturated way is the way forward, but it's not. No. Like, we stopped making those tech house square wave tunes 2 years ago, but people are still making them now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you should
I'm still doing well off them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're doing well, but they're also getting other people not liking them. So you've got people who like them, people who don't like them. So it's just better just to be different. Try and just change things around a little bit. Even if you're going to do a square wave tune, just add something different to it.
Yeah, and that's ideally what you guys would look for.
Yeah, 100%.
Standout vocals is massive.
Standout vocals as well.
Which are cleared.
Huge.
Cleared
standout vocals.
Not cracked.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you guys ever record your own vocals?
We did attempt it.
Yeah, I haven't, but I'm definitely going to, though. Definitely. Oh, no, we did actually. We didn't do it ourselves, but when we did actually with Chris Lake, we got his wife to do it on the phone. Just because we had no vocals to put on it, so we just...
On a voice note,
on a voice
free your
note.
body, free your mind, it's mad.
What plugin is it you use for your vocals?
Well, I just, like I said before, it's just that SSL,
Just the SSL.
The mix. I mean, a vocal is very dependent on where it comes from. So say if you've got a vocal recorded on like a Neumann mic, which is going to be really good, you don't really want to do too much to it because you're going to have that naturally good sound. If you've got a shit sounding sample, sometimes you've got to do whatever it takes to make it work. So if you've got a voice note on your phone, it's not going to sound the best, but you can make that work to sound good. So you can pick up on the shit aspects of that recording and make that part of the actual vocal itself. So say the shit distortion you might get off your phone could be an aspect or a thing that you might want to like pull out a little bit more to make it sound cool. Like on that free your body thing, it's like it sounded shit on a phone, and it was done on like we had Ringer played down the phone to her, then she just sent voice notes back via WhatsApp, and then we got those, put them into Cubase, the projects, and then put like different things on there like choir boy and stuff like that, which will then, you know, just give it a whole new element sort of thing. So it's all dependent on where the vocal comes from.
Thank you.
Brilliant. I think there's a chap at the back there as well.
So basically, me and my mate are setting up a night in Manchester. It's going to be like a Thursday night, so we're going to try and like make it a bit more student orientated. So we're trying to get some sort of like younger, sort of maybe uni students that haven't played out so much, try and get them involved. Have you got any tips for sort of setting up your own night and how to kick it off and sort of make?
That's how we started.
That's how we started. Actually, we put our first night. What's it called? 256 in Fallowfield. If anyone knows it, I don't know. The old Queen Elizabeth. And at the time when we in the middle of making music, we tried to put events on. We was booking like the people who we was looking up to try and get music signed to their label.
Reverb.
And in between, literally, this is genuinely in between making music, we was going flyering round Fallowfield ourselves, door to door, sellotape, sticking it on doors, posting it through, putting it on cars, you know. But it's quite different now.
I think you want to do smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, good advice to get a night off the ground.
No, you got to throw everything into it. So basically, you need to do smoke and mirrors. I think we did it. So you create smoke and mirrors. You create it, make it look bigger than it is. If you put it in everyone's face, they're going to think it's bigger than it is. If you like, so what we did, we'd not put windows through, but we'd break into halls and put every flyer under every single door in every hall there was. And I'm not even joking, every hall there was. And that meant that every single student knew about it. Yeah. And then we'd put posters on street lamps. We get the council trying to sue us all the time, you know, giving us fines and stuff for doing it.
Really?
And then but basically we used to just like say to the students, let us in the halls, and then just literally have the flyers down your pants and then just go out under all the doors. Like that's what.
And if you got like right branding and it looks big and cool, and it's just a case of getting it to everyone. And then also you want to be getting students or like-minded people, because you can get DJs who think, like, you know, I said local DJ syndrome before. Some DJs will be like DJing at home and think they're actually really big balls. But what you actually want the people who like what we were, just, you know, more than willing to just throw yourself out there and bring all the mates down and just basically help, because it's not going to happen easily, putting nights on. I mean, we lost loads of money on it, but it was worth it. And we did it to infiltrate DJs we needed to get tunes to.
So where's the venue, if you don't mind me asking? Have you got one?
Stage and radio.
Stage and radio, Carl's place, yeah? Okay. Yeah. On a Thursday night, student-based sort of vibe?
Yeah, basically.
What, a monthly or a weekly?
Monthly to start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better doing monthly.
Yeah.
Because you definitely can't be
But to be fair, stage and radio is quite a go-to place for people as well, because there's so many different house and techno events going on there now. It's becoming
pretty good.
Yeah, it's becoming quite go-to. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, as well, another thing like what we did at the start when we was trying to get it out there, it was like joining all these relevant groups, student groups, house and techno groups, and then it's very time-consuming. And then like, to build your pages, like say you set an events page up called, I don't know, whatever night, you know, invite all your friends and then post it in all the groups and then just, do you know what I mean? Just try and get momentum.
Some socials up.
Basically, it's just trying to get people to know about it, to raise awareness is the first and foremost thing.
Because launch it at the right time as well. Don't launch it in the middle of the year when no one's got any money. Like, if you do it Freshers
Week is always a good time to launch any events because that's when the students have got the money, they've been paid, and they want to party.
And they don't know any better either. So if you put a night in their face, they're going to think that's the go-to place, whether it be or whether it not be.
Yeah. Cheers.
No worries, mate.
Any other questions?
Before you was on about like polishing a turd.
Yeah.
What about like the other way around? If the idea was like there, 80%.
Yeah.
Does it have to be 100%? Because like sometimes I struggle because I make tunes but not in a treated. My room's not treated or anything. Making a living room. Sometimes the mixing's not always there. Do you know what I mean? Would you tie it off if you listen to it, or would you just? If there was a chance of.
No. Go on. You go on.
Or would you like say, I'll do this and that to it?
Yeah, no, 100%. If the elements was there, if you can see potential within a track, I 100% will give constructive criticism if I can see it could be something more. If it's just like down to elements because so many things. It could be a catchy bass line, it could be the right vocal, it could be a mad sound, it could be just anything. Do you know what catches you? And we've signed so much music where the initial draft, the initial demo that you got sent is a million miles away from what come out on the label. We just like beef the bass line up, try this, try. Obviously, if you can see potential in it, 100%, I'll go back and forth with people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Because I did sometimes like some of my tracks I was like, because I've not got like the proper treated room and stuff. I thought, but I've had like plays from like Sammy Porter, Big Deep, Crider and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think like I've got like chances. Just that if I had like a sound engineer with me, I'd be like,
I
feel proper confident. But
well, it's not just down to the room though. It's just down to the room. Your ears will get used to whatever room you're in. So like. You don't need. You could go in our room, which is like treated, and not be able to do as much as what you can do in your room because
you're used to in your head.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Cheers for that.
Okay.
No worries, mate.
There was a chap just at the back there as well with a question. Is everyone as well?
When you first started making music, what kept you motivated to keep making music?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a massive thing which separates people from doing it and not doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, hundreds of people I've met over the years who just do it and then they give up. And I reckon it's just down to persistence. And I do believe if you just persist in anything you do, it will always come good eventually.
Self-belief as well. Obviously, you've got to listen. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. And like from personal point of views. Even when we was at such an early stage, I was adamant, mate. We was taking the world on, like genuinely adamant, mate. Innit? We both was.
I've got videos.
Listen, honestly, I could show you a video now on my phone from 3-4 years ago, saying everything on live on video what we want to happen in the next 3 years, and
I'm half tempted to get it up actually.
Do you want to do it? Yeah,
I love it.
Listen, a video from years ago, like 3-4 years ago, of us talking about our aspirations and what we want to do and where we want to be at in the following years. And we've done it, and it's mad to see.
Did you find like maybe setting goals?
Yeah, of course. Listen to me. Here's one. And we didn't even realise at the time because we're a big believer in visualisation. We like the book The Secret got me into believing that I could do all this with music. Yeah. And at the time, we had like a whiteboard in our studio, and we used to find all these different things, what we believed at the time was well out of our reach or anything we could ever do. These stages, these festivals, these clubs around the world, Vegas, all this. And there was one in particular, we had the stage from Tobacco Dock with Adam Bayer playing, like full. And then virtually everything that was on the board we went on to achieve and played this stage, and it made it mental because you've got to believe. Oh my God, I'm going toilet, mate. Are you actually playing this?
Yeah,
Go
if
on,
it comes through.
Oh, it's.
It might take a while to come through because it's that good.
But you found putting things on basically the whiteboard and.
Really it's the law of attraction. So basically, I don't know if you read The Secret, it's basically the laws of attraction, shit like that. So, I just thought Yeah, just do it and it'll happen, and it does. But you just got to be persistent in it, because the amount of people I've seen who are really good at it just give up at a certain age. I mean, I still see people now who've gone to this level at our age, pushing and pushing and pushing, still doing well, still releasing music and stuff, but just giving up now at this age. Like, say 5 years ago, when we first started doing, well, say 4 years ago when we started doing well, I could have given up now then very, very, very easily, because I'd just come back from living in London. I was just going to be a sound engineer at like £10 an hour, and that's my full-time job. And I could have done that now, but I just carried on pushing, and luckily it came through. But I don't think it's just luck. I just think it's down to, if you just really believe it and keep on pushing for it, it'll come.
Perseverance, just non-stop. Just don't take no for an answer, mate, because, you know, so many no's. Just no. Like at the start when we was trying to get music to people.
You jumped the fence at
listen to me, it took like 6 months just to get a reply off people, just to even acknowledge, and obviously you're thinking, right, so we've sat here for years and made all this music and we're trying to send it out, and just people won't even acknowledge it. And it just boils down to test of character, of how much do you really want it, though. People say, oh, I want this, I want to be a DJ, I want to tour the world, I want to be a recognised producer. But mate, how much do you really want it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's levels to wanting something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Should I do this or not?
Go on, just do it. We may as well. We already look a cut. C20 anyway, so it don't matter. Not that I care in any way, shape or form.
That'll take a while. Might be signed, but oh no, it's gone.
It was someone asking us, right, where do you want to be in a few years? Where do you want to be in a few years?
Oh, there's no sound, it doesn't link. But it's good luck though, isn't it? One of the sunglasses.
Go on, you listen, just play off the phone. Just people are going to be able to hear it, just cup it.
Yeah, I'm
not. This is 2016, turn it up. 4 years ago, actually. Where?
We were pissed, by the way.
That's what I'm saying, self-belief. You've got to believe in yourself. Yeah, that's it. From Southend to private jets and presidential suites, mate. Oh my God.
And we got it.
In all fairness, you've done it, to be fair, which makes it even the more...
He was saying private jets, and I was saying no, but we do sometimes get private jets, and it's just solely on a basis of, you know, just believing in yourself. And
manifesting, you've got to believe so much, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're, you know, it might not work out for everybody, but you've certainly got to believe in yourself if you want to do this properly, do you know what I mean?
Like you said, how much do you want it?
Exactly, that's what it boils down to, mate. What sacrifice, you know, fuck me. I barely see my kids now.
Yeah.
Sacrifice my bird, sacrifice so much stuff in your life to go and achieve your dream, do you know what I mean, basically?
Absolutely. Does anyone else have any other questions? It's a really good question, that. I liked it.
How did you get in touch with Jamie Jones and Hot Creations for Tribesman?
I remember he was playing Paradise at the Albert Hall and I jumped over the fence and gave him a USB. But also, we infiltrated Jamie Jones through his tour manager, Paolo Francesco, and I'm not saying that we befriended him just for this sole reason, and we've done a collab and other things, but you've got to, if that's the camp you want to be in and you want to... You've got to try and find ways to infiltrate. You've got to infiltrate. You've got to befriend people's birds. You've got to give bags of things out for free and whatever it takes, mate. And that's just it.
He ended up at Richie Ahmed's house with his housemate.
Yeah.
Sat in his
Come on,
slippers.
that's it, right?
Slippers
Yeah, go on, anyway. You've got to, basically, the point of the matter is you've got to do what you've got. If that, you know, you've got to... Another thing is, like, once you make the music, you've got to identify where do you fit in this scene, do you know what I mean? Because obviously everybody's different, you know, and there's so many subgenres in this scene now, house music, techno, minimal, deep tech, this, that. You know, a big thing as well is identifying where you feel you fit in and identifying a camp of people, a certain label, a certain series of labels, a certain party, a brand, whatever, and hone on that and just try and get, and just think of the top people within that brand, which obviously Jamie Jones is the head of Hot Creations, Hot Tracks, Emerald City, head of Paradise, world-recognised DJ. Obviously, if you can get someone like him, who's someone who completely pioneered a sound to believe in you, trust me, mate, the masses will follow. Do you know what I mean?
That was our only aim. All we wanted was Hot Creations. That was it. And
That's it. And we focused on it for years. And I remember work that shit. We sent it to Jamie Jones, and he was playing it all around the world. And Richie Ahmed was assuring us, saying, "Listen, it's going on Hot Creations. It's going on Hot Creations. It's going on Hot Creations." 10 months later, I remember seeing the email, and he went, "Unfortunately, the Hot Creation sound's changing. We're going to give this a miss, mate." And
he even asked me to change it.
Soul destroying, mate.
I had to change it twice.
Soul destroying. Soul destroying.
And I read you sent them Tribes.
Still, you know, we've had two EPs, and what Tribes and Hot Creations #1. Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, don't. When people say no, just don't believe it, mate. If you believe it truly. Just crack on with it, mate, and push it, and just keep trying to kick the doors down and just prove people wrong.
Persistence.
You know what I mean? Just prove people that. Obviously, a big thing for us was people's perception of you and how people prejudge you, mate. And you just need to ram it down people's throat and just shut them up and just say, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. People didn't think we'd last more than a year.
People, as you can imagine, when you come in the spotlight, everybody's got something to say.
Of course.
The more successful you are, the more people have. It's like old women sat round eating tea and biscuits, mate. Honestly, like, yeah, what?
People don't like success. People don't speak about, oh, isn't Tommy doing really well? They like to go, look at that dick. That happened to him.
Yeah.
It's like you
the
laugh.
more
Someone
successful, the more scrutiny.
Someone like, if a bus goes past someone and like hits a puddle, you laugh at them, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, is that just me?
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, that's how it is.
No, that's fair.
But you just got to keep on coming persistent and make sure. Also, one of the main things is when you do well, you never take your foot off the gas, because the minute you take it off the gas,
Complacency
come in and take it right from underneath.
There's 100. Listen, with where this scene's at now, there's so many people who will just take your place like that at the drop of a hat. You know, you've got, and once you get anywhere, you've just got to constantly evolve. Like you say, keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening, what's next. You know, the people who you aspire to be, like, listen to what they're playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to keep your finger on the pulse so much and evolve. It's like being a chameleon. You've got to adapt constantly to what's
going on. Just
everything, because it's the scene's changing on a daily basis. You know, a new sound will come, and a new sound is, every day.
Brilliant.
Evolve
and do that. Thank you. Any other questions? Got one at the back.
Do you know what you were saying about getting in people's faces, making sure you get it out there? But then when you went back to saying about how you've seen certain names and just deleted an email, do you think there's like a fine line between giving me?
I think if you get in the faces, you got to be fully know that what the product you're giving them is of that level. You've got to fully believe in it, because if it isn't what you think it is, you will get deleted.
Before, like, I've had downloads off like yourselves and Jamie Jones, and then I've gone back to them and thought, why did they even download it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I've had people like listen to them and not download them and think,
is
that like?
Yeah. You know what?
Some people like some things, some people don't, sort of thing. But it is just, you've got to make sure that your product which you're giving out is good, because even if you do a tune which we might not like, well, we can tell what's a good, well-produced tune, and we can tell what it might be someone else's taste. So just because it's not necessarily our taste that time round, we'll still keep on listening to it. You know?
And do you know what? It is pretty shallow. Do you know what? After this talk, I'm never going to do it. I'm going to actively try not to do it again. But you know, because of like when you look searching for music, and you're just trying to, you know, you can't sit and listen to 5 minutes of every track because you won't have a life. You just spend your full day listening to track after track. But 100%, if I've downloaded it personally, there must have been elements there where
I've had your private SoundCloud listen to like 10 at once.
Yeah.
I've had the Solardo account download a couple.
And
then I've had you listen to them and never download any of them, sort of thing. So I was like, what
yeah,
you saying about you just following emails?
But that might be because you might be listening on your phone.
Yeah, it just depends where you're listening to.
It might be SoundCloud on your phone, and then you log in on the.
Then I'll listen back to them.
Yeah, because obviously, like I was saying, these AirPod things and just have like been a complete game changer for me for A&R in music, mate. And like, literally, if it sounds sick on these, I'll just go back on my computer and listen to it proper on headphones. You know what I mean? But listen, it's down to perseverance, mate. It's like just keep sending it, mate. Just keep sending it. In you know, Facebook is literally Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything, USBs when you see people. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, just because I'm going back to before. One track, mate. That's what it takes. One track. Look at that. What's that kid on the defective thing? Roberto Sirachi with the Joys. One tune, the most simple, basic tune with like a proper basic bass line, mate. It just was like track of the summer. You know, it's just one tune can change everything, change your life fully, everything about it. One tune. What could, like you say, like we've, like Tribesman took us 2 hours and
it changed.
It completely can change everything. Do you know what I mean?
So just one thing, thanks a lot for that question as well. So as we're coming towards the end of this, obviously, as you know, all the tickets, one thing that's really, really worth mentioning, and of course a credit to you guys, really, all the tickets that we've sold tonight will actually be going to a chosen charity of Solardo, as it is World Cancer Day today. So first of all, just want to tell us just a little bit about the charity and why you've chosen it as well.
Yeah, so for me personally, and it's mad because I didn't even know it was World Cancer Day today. Obviously, cancer is a pretty close thing to my heart because I've lost a couple of my family members in the recent years. So I think it was only right for me, Julie, to, you know, and whatever money is raised tonight for the record, at the end of it, we'll match whatever it is. So say if £1,000 raised there, we'll put £1,000 of our own money in, do you know what I mean?
There will be a bucket at the end, so anyone who does want to donate towards that charity, you just heard it from
Christie's. Obviously, it's a local thing for Manchester. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, if you can, please, of course, donate anything from that. I think, to be honest with you guys, we're pretty much wrapped up. Just first of all, a massive thanks from everyone here at SEM. I think it's been definitely an enjoyable night for everybody. It's been really good to see you break down not just one track but two. So, you know, thanks a lot for coming down and thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Good.
Just for the record, you know, you complete honesty with us. We're not going to try and say how it's not. Do you know what I mean? That's But thanks for coming. I didn't expect this many people to come. To be fair.
Wonderful.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. Again, massive round of applause for Solardo.
Thanks, Dave.